What's going on, guys? Thank you for coming back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about a song called Deportivo, which is by Alvaro Diaz and features Cazzu and was produced by Caleb Calloway. This song is on Alvaro's new album called Díaz Antes, which was just released last December. The song came out over the summer last year, Deportivo, and is definitely one of the highlights of the album. But there are some great songs on here. Uy, Dale Duro, El Último Baile, Reina Pepiada. This album is definitely one of my favorites of the new ones that have been released recently. So Alvaro Diaz is an artist who has been around for quite some time now. He is actually one of my favorite artists involved in this whole scene. He's not very well known, but el que sabe, sabe. O sea, people who are his fans are really true fanatics. Like, he's got a really loyal following, and people know that listen to him that he's just authentic. He really has that kind of like street style, almost hood rap. He's just got it in his veins, you know. This dude's really original. He's a really likable guy, and he's very underrated. There he is with Puppy So. The two of them do a lot of work together. They're buddies. So the song features Cazzu, who many people are already familiar with. Very talented young lady. And was produced by Caleb Calloway, who is beginning to become more and more known now. He worked on Bad Bunny's latest album. He's done a ton of work with Álvaro, and also done a ton of work with Rauw Alejandro. So let's listen to a little piece of it here. I'm not sure if it's going to be an issue with copyright. We'll find out. But yeah, in case you haven't heard the song, this is a little snippet of it. Duro, duro de verdad, durísimo, me encanta. Alvaro Diaz con Cazzu, que temazo de verdad. So another song I wanted to mention here, produced by Caleb, is this song called Cómodo. As we saw, Caleb's done a bunch of stuff for Rauw, especially on his new album. This song is really not well known at all. For some reason, it says it's on Rauw's YouTube channel, but when you go to his channel, it's like it's not there. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I mean, this song only has 56,000 views. Let's hear a piece of this fire. This is Latin fire right here. Durísimo. And that beat, Caleb's beat in Cómodo, really kind of reminds me of the beat in Deportivo. The prominence of the hi-hats there. Great stuff, man. It really is great stuff. This is a great collaboration. So we're just going to take a look at the chorus. Okay, so let's just go through the chorus here and clean it up a little bit. So the first line is Es la envidia de todo su corillo. So to is a shortening of todo. Es la envidia de todo su corillo. Cuando la busco en el Deportivo, that's fine. Aunque le faltan par de tornillos. So here, tornillos will have an S on the end of it. And it's actually interesting that they wrote the word par with an R on the end, because you're going to hear it pronounced like pal. And in fact, most of the time they just write it this way. It's almost accepted that it can be written this way because of the, just how prominent the Puerto Rican accent is, changing the R to the L like that. So a lot of times you're just going to see pal de, which actually means par de. So here they actually wrote it correctly. But if you listen to how he pronounces it in the song, it's definitely like pal de. All right. Si me la tocan, voy a jalar gatillo. So we saw this a couple times last time. Wa is a shortening of voy a. All right, so just 4 lines. Hopefully this won't take us too long. It's pretty straightforward. So es is coming from the verb ser, to be. Here it means she is. It leaves out the pronoun, which would be ella. So a lot of times, especially in this music, if the pronoun is left out, you can be like about 90% sure that they're talking about a girl. Okay, just a general rule of thumb. Most of these songs are about girls in some way or another. So es is going to mean she is. La envidia means the envy. Okay. De todo su corillo. So de means of. Todo means all. Su here means her, because we're talking about a girl. And then corillo is a kind of a Puerto Rican slang word for crew or squad or her group of friends. She is the envy of all her crew. So we could say it like she's the envy of her whole crew. Something like that. Okay. She's the envy of her whole crew. Cuando la busco en el Deportivo. So cuando means when. The la here means her. Busco is coming from the verb buscar, which has various meanings. Usually when you're learning Spanish, you are taught that buscar means to look for or to search for. But a lot of times, buscar can just mean to go and get something or someone. Okay, so it's like I get. Okay, so when her I get, we're going to take the pronoun, move it over. When I get her. En el Deportivo. En means in. El means the. Deportivo means sports car. That's the definition of Deportivo. It means sports car. The name of the song is Deportivo. Okay, so when I get her in the sports car, it's all referring back to the first line. So she's the envy of her whole crew when I get her in the sports car. So that when is like an every time. Every time I get her in the sports car, okay? We could make it come get her. And then you could say the sports car or be like, in this ride. To say sports car sounds a little bit weird, so. She's the envy of her whole crew every time I come get her in this ride. Aunque le faltan par de tornillos. So aunque means although or even though. Le faltan. So le is an indirect object, which means that it's typically going to involve an additional preposition. So he is referring to the girl here, which will become clear from the context, but he's referring to the girl. So it's going to be like from her. So the le is almost like from her. We're going to end up changing that, but le, you typically want to identify whether he's talking about it or him or her or you if it's usted, and then identify a preposition which will help you a little bit to make sense of the sentence, and then we're going to end up getting rid of it anyway. So, aunque le faltan, so the verb faltar means like to be missing. We're going to write it in a weird way and just say something like are missing, although from her are missing. You can kind of see the point. We could change this to like, even though she's missing. Okay, so from her are missing is the same thing as saying like she's missing. So le faltan, she's missing. Okay, it's important to be able to understand these little words, le and stuff in Spanish, because they can actually be very tricky. Par de is going to mean like literally pair of. Okay, so we could just change that to like a couple of. And then tornillos means screws. Okay, so even though she's missing a couple of screws, like I said, he's referring to the girl. He's basically saying that this girl's a little bit crazy. We also have the expression in English to have a screw loose. So you could say it that way if you want to, even though she got a couple of screws loose. It's a little cheeky because before he says this final line, it's still not clear who he's talking about because the le isn't specifying gender in any way. So he could be talking about the car and saying, I come get her in this ride, which is missing a couple screws. But then the next thing he says, he's referring to the girl. So si means if. Me la tocan. So the me, again, is an indirect object. So you want to add that preposition in there and think of it like on me this time. So before we had the le, it was like from me, from her. Now, me here could be from me. It just depends on the context, but a better preposition to use is like on. The la is now, this is a direct object, so it just means her. Tocan is coming from the verb tocar, which means to touch. We can see it's in the plural form. So it'd be like y'all touch. Voy means I'm going to. Jalar gatillo. So jalar means to pull, and gatillo means trigger. So if on me, her, y'all touch, so we can rearrange that whole thing. And it would be if y'all touch her on me, right? If y'all touch her on me, I'm going to pull trigger. So you could say, you'd say the trigger. If y'all touch her on me, I'm going to pull the trigger, okay? So si me la tocan translates pretty well once you rearrange it. If y'all touch her on me. Hey, you could keep that, or you could try to find another expression and be like, if you lay a finger on her. And we could even get rid of the if to just cut down on the words, be like, lay a finger on her. We could be like, and then we'll add an and in there. So lay a finger on her, and I'm going to pull the trigger. Or we could say something like, we could try to adapt the expression like shots fired that we have in English and be like, and it's shots fired. Lay a finger on her, and it's shots fired. Okay, so he's basically saying that, like, even though his girl's crazy, even though she's a psycho, he still loves her. So if you're going to lay a finger on her, you're going to get your ass shot down. All right, so that's the song. I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, let me know. So yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and see you next time.